Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Happy Monday. Happy Memorial if you celebrate, by the way. Um, as we get into it today, our practice is going to be pretty straightforward and bare bones is the word that's coming to my mind this morning. But I want us to really go over some simpler postures, or at least more basic postures, if I could say so. But really hone in on some like key technique and details in those simpler or basic postures. Okay. Um, Krishnamacharya has a quote that I very much enjoy, and he says, 90% of the benefit of your yoga practice comes from the simplest 10% that you do, right? And for me, that's just comforting to hear because oftentimes I can come to this mat and maybe you share the same sentiment, right? But like I can make this thing a little more complicated than it really is. And if we can kind of go back and just make sure that we're doing the simplest things as efficiently as we can do it, I think that that little refresher goes a very, very long way because it just comes back to the essence of what this yoga practice is. Okay. So when you're ready, join me on the mat, but we're going to come forward into downward facing dog. Okay. So starting in downward facing dog, because again, this is one of those poses that like we're here and it can be a thing where we're just here, right? Like, all right, downward facing dog, this is like the post, and then we gonna like hold here until we have to leave the post. But for a moment, I want you to feel your down dog. So without any extra movement, okay? Spread the space between the fingers, spread the work in the hands. Feel a little more of the connection of your knuckles and the palms. And then sense that there's a push kind of element coming from the mat. Okay. Nice. Now with that, soften the shoulders, relax the space in your neck. All right. And then let the heart melt a little closer towards the floor. Nice. Okay, now keeping this, drop the heels a little firmer towards the mat. And at any amount that you can, lengthen the back of both legs. So if you can, knees a little straighter, but press the hips and thighs back towards the ceiling. Nice. Okay, now holding this, you're going to inhale, come forward into plank pose. Nice. Right. Exhale, hips up and back behind you, downward facing dog. There we go. Okay, with the breath one more time. So inhale, bring your heart forward over the hands, plank. Exhale, downward facing dog, hips up and back one more time. Nice. Okay, last one. Inhale, heart forward for plank. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Good. And then bend your knees, look forward. And then slowly walk your feet in between both the hands at the top of the mat. There we go. Good, y'all. And then once you arrive, let everything be heavy for a moment. Okay. If you practice with me, you know I stress this a lot, but like the feeling of softening your body in your yoga practice is giving us that feeling of ease and release. And that's a part of the yoga practice as well, right? So again, if we're highlighting the simple things, notice if this is something that comes easy or if this something is not as easy. And how do we kind of incorporate that into practice, right? So soften the work in the neck. Maybe it feels good to shake the head a little, yes or no, right? Big bends in your knees might feel nice in your legs and your lower back. So if you want to take it a little lower, give yourself a little more movement in the hips and legs. Good, right? And if it's not too much, give yourself a big exhale. So maybe open mouth sigh if breathing is not your best friend in this practice, which it is a lot of the practice, right? Give yourself like a big exhale. Nice. Okay, now inhale into a half lift. So your heart is going to stretch forward, but you're going to take your hands to your thighs. Calves if it feels a little bit better, but I want you to feel like you're not pushing too much. There's some lightness to the hands, but there's more of an extension through your heart, through the spine. Good. Okay. Now shoulders come back and away from the ears, and then feel for a moment that same thing you felt in down dog a little bit, but the thighs are pressing back, hips are going back, but the heart is reaching towards the top of the mat. Okay. Take a big inhale in. Exhale, forward fold, and we let that go. Nice. Okay. Inhale all the way to standing. So you're going to reach the arms over your head. Nice. Exhale, let the hands come down by your sides. Soften the hands and relax. Nice. Okay, now pausing for a moment. Okay. Sense that the next breath you take can come into like a still body, right? So smooth inhaling. Soft, relax, exhale out, let that go. Good. All right. Do that again. Follow where you feel the breath the most. So inhale, feel it through the heart. And then exhale, soften your shoulders. Feel the space around your neck. Okay. Now, I remember one of my teachers early on, he would say, like, if you come to yoga practice and you just breathe really well, you did more yoga than you know, right? And this is one of those concepts where I feel like we forget the simple parts of this is a breathing practice, right? So half salutations, so we can pair the breath with the movement. As you inhale, you're gonna swing your arms forward and up. Good. And then as you exhale, forward fold, come down over the fronts of your legs with the breath. Nice. Okay. Inhale, halfway lift, heart forward, lengthen the spine, press the thighs back. Exhale, forward fold, come all the way down. We relax and let go. Good. Okay. Inhale all the way to stand and take your time, and we're slowly reaching to the top. There's no rush. Nice. Exhale, hands to the sides of your body. Let that go. Okay. So one more time, but see if you can match the rhythm of your breath with what you're moving through. Okay. Inhale, arms forward and up. Nice. Exhale, forward fold all the way down. Good. Okay. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. We let go. Good. Okay. Inhale all the way to stand and take your time. Exhale, release the hands by your sides. Good. Okay. One more time. And if it feels good, close your eyes and just give all the attention to the movement. Inhale, arms up. Nice. Exhale, forward fold, come all the way down. Okay. And again, just breathing well. Like you have that consistency, right? Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold, release. Nice. Okay. Same time, inhale all the way up. Nice. Exhale, hands come to the sides of your body. We let that go. Good. Okay. Now, maintaining that rhythm, coming through chair pose. All right. One more time. Inhale, arms up. Nice. And then as you exhale, palms together, sit the hips down and back, hands in front of the chest. Okay, now, not for a lot, but shift the weight a little more into the heels. Take an inhale, pick the chest up. Nice. Exhale, forward fold, hands on the mat. Open up the feet a little wider on your mat. And then sit your seat all the way in between the feet for malasana. Okay. Now, again, not for a long time, but as you inhale, heels down, heart up. Good. Exhale, hands on the mat, forward fold. We step that. We let that go. Okay. Inhale, halfway lift. Nice. Exhale, hands on the mat. Step both feet back. And then we're gonna pause, plank pose. Okay. Now, if you need it, knees down onto the mat. Okay. And this is the thing where it's like I feel like oftentimes in yoga we could take like adjustments or modifications, and we're like not doing the yoga, right? And that's not the case. Because again, the idea, round spine, right? Hands underneath the shoulders a little bit more. Holding this because we can, but if you need the knees on the mat, you still have that same orientation with the upper body, right? Take a big inhale. Exhale, come halfway down. Nice. Okay, now up dog, inhale over the toes, lift your heart forward and up. Shoulders down and away from your ears. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Hips up and back, we pause. Nice. Okay. So slowing down for a moment, I just want to remind you, right? Like your yoga practice is very much movement, yes. Or at least the asana practice, yes. But in that movement, we're also practicing how to breathe well. We're also practicing basic skills of like awareness and attentiveness, right? So just checking in on your breath, how you doing, right? And are you still in your body rather than being in your mind or somewhere else beyond the mat, right? Now, when you're ready, inhale, lift the right leg up and back. Good. And you're going to bend your knee, open your hip up towards the right side of your mat. Okay. Now, if it feels good, roll the ankle, right? Give yourself a couple rolls with the hip, rolls with the knee. But I want you to feel something in your hip, right? Like, I'm a big fan of like straight leg circles. So this might be a way that you move too, but I want to like, if you can really feel your hip in what you're doing, feel that we're still aware and we're still attentive to the feelings in what we're doing in the hip. Good. Okay. Inhale, right leg up and back. And then exhale, right foot forward in between the hands. Okay. Setting up warrior one. So back heel down. Okay. And then for a moment, simple warrior one, the way you always take it, arms up over the head. Okay. Now slowing down for a moment. How do you breathe in your warrior one? Or is that something that you even pay attention to, you know? In a sense that the poses, the posture is the technique, the physicality, but we're breathing consistently and calmly as well. Okay. Now, for a moment, bring the hands to the heart prayer. And you're going to straighten out the front knee and then walk your right foot a little more to the right side of your mat. Okay. Now, subtle feeling, but adding in this key detail. Okay. Back foot, outer arch, push the pinky side down. Okay. Keep that. And then any amount that you can, you're going to rebend the front knee, but push the floor away with the back foot. Okay. Now, feeling it subtly, right? But that outer arch is still grounding down and the arch lifts up just a little bit. You're going to create the effort with that back leg of pulling towards the front side of the mat. Okay. Now, as you pull, let that left hip go with it too. So that left hip is going to twist a little more to the top, but not so much that you're like forcing the hips square, right? Wherever that hip turns and it stops, that's where you are. That's your warrior one. Don't fight it. Okay. Arms over the head when you're ready. And then just staying with that for a breath. Take a big inhale into reach. Exhale, hands down on the mat. Good. Okay, downward facing dog. All right, as you inhale, come forward in the plank pose. Exhale, maybe knees come down or halfway down if you got it. All right. Inhale up dog over the toes, chest up, shoulders come back. Good. Exhale, downward facing dog, hips up and back. We pause. Good, y'all. Okay. Second side when you're ready. Inhale, left leg up. Go ahead, bend your knee, open up the hip, make some space. Okay, so again, this is a thing where we can throw the leg up and just like have a party up there, a leg party. I don't know what that means, but if that ever like feels like something. But just notice, right, like what's your intention behind your movement, right? Are you deliberate in your effort, right? Like, can you feel that I'm actually doing something that I need for my body, right? Inhale, left leg back. Exhale, warrior one, step forward. Okay. So back heel down. Warrior one with the arms over the head as we settle. Good. Okay. And again, this is just one of these things, right? Like you come into warrior one, and especially if you practice a lot, right? How often in warrior one do you feel that you're working on warrior one, you know? So for a moment, hands come to the heart, straighten out the front leg, take your front foot wide to the side. Okay. Now with that width is asking us to kind of include the hips a little bit more, which is what we want. But with that outer arch, back foot, you're going to press down. Okay. Keep the pinky side pressed. Don't lose it. Rebend the front knee one more time. Okay. Now, as you continue to push through the back foot, you lift the inner arch, and in any amount that you can, you pull your back foot to the front of the mat. Okay. Keeping that work, twist your back hip forward. Any amount that it stops, any amount that it twists, that's fine. Where it stops, stop. Okay. Arms over the head, inhale. And maybe you close your eyes just for the next breath, but feel that your mind can feel the stuff that you're doing in your leg. You're still calming your breath. Okay. Big inhale into reach. Exhale, hands down. Good, y'all. Right, downward facing dog. Right. Inhale into plank pose. Exhale, halfway down. All right, inhale up for up dog. Nice. Exhale for down dog, tuck your toes. Nice, y'all. Okay, so slow it down. Okay, feel that we've moved through warrior one. We're in downward facing dog now. Okay, so if your mind is still on warrior one, we're practicing presence. And because of that, or the way we do that, is just sensing the next inhale that comes in, right? Notice that you can't hold your breath, similar to how you shouldn't always just like hold your thoughts, you know? Make room for the next thing to come. Bend your knees, look forward. Good. Slowly walk your feet in between the hands or hop if you feel like that's what you need this morning, okay? But we're keeping it simple, okay? Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, we let go. Nice, okay? Inhale all the way to stand and take your time. Exhale, hands to the sides of your body. Good. Close your eyes for a moment and just check in with yourself, right? Am I still breathing well? Right? And if not, remind yourself that it's just as much your yoga as you pushing through up dog and down dog. Okay. Take a deep inhale in one more time. Exhale just to soften your shoulders. Good. Okay. Now feet open a little wider on your mat. All right. And in chair pose, hands come to the heart. Sit the hips down and back. Okay. Now, subtly in chair, right? Like not too much technique, but I want you to feel similar to what we did in that warrior one. So as you stay a little lower, Ground through the outer arches of your foot so much so that the inner arches lift up. And then create this effort of squeezing the space in between your legs, okay? So now, chair pose, simple chair pose, Utkatasana, the way we do it. But now you're gonna engage a little bit of the inner thigh muscles, adding a little more extra technique, okay? Bicep by the ears if it feels nice. Lift the heart a little higher, good. Take a big inhale. Exhale, forward fold. We let that go, okay? So again, chair. I remember when I first started doing chair, it was like the survival pose, like hold chair, like and just survive, right? But it wasn't until I got into these like subtle details that I was like, oh, there's stuff to actually do in chair. And I want you to feel that again. We might skip these little details if we're looking at all the big poses, right? So inhale, half lift. Exhale, hands on the mat. Step both feet back, downward facing dog. Okay, inhale forward for plank. Exhale, come halfway down. Up dog, inhale over the toes. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good, y'all. Okay, so how you breathing? Okay, and just notice that a few like extra things thrown into the yoga practice, breath might be the last thing on your mind, right? But that's the practice, right? Like we're coming back to it, so don't lose it. Inhale, right leg up and back. Exhale with the breath, step right foot forward in between the hands. Nice. Okay, so warrior two this time, you're gonna twist your back heel down, right? Open up your hips, open up your heart as wide as you can to the long side of your mat, okay? Now, similar vibe to what we did in warrior one, okay? You're gonna straighten out the front leg, walk your front foot a little wider to the right on the front leg. Now, as you ground the outer arch of the back foot, create the effort, pulling towards the front foot. But now, extra detail on warrior two, but press through the outer arch of that front foot as well. So the outer arches of both foot are just really active into the mat, okay? Keep that, rebend your front knee. Okay, now if you're feeling something, which I hope you are, inner thighs are talking right now, okay? Keeping that conversation up, notice your warrior two, with that little added element of like pressing the outer arches of your feet, okay? Keep that effort, press the front knee out in the same direction of your outer arch, okay? Take a big inhale, open the hands, open the heart, excuse me. Exhale all the way down, all right? Hands, hope your hands are open, all right? Step your right foot back, all right? Inhale, plank pose. Your choice if you're coming down to the knees, but halfway down, all right? Up dog, inhale over the toes, lift your heart forward and up. Shoulders come away from the ears. Good, down dog as you exhale, tuck your toes. Slow down, okay? Reminder for you and me. Okay, big inhale, left leg up. Nice, exhale, left foot in between the hands. All right, warrior two, twist the back heel down. Nice, y'all, okay? And again, we have space to kind of settle in, right? So again, warrior two, which is a pose you might do 1,000 times if you practice this a lot. But in warrior two, are you attentive? Are you breathing well? Do you have the simple stuff in the pose too, right? So for a moment, straighten out the front leg. Take your front foot an extra step to the left. Good. Now, outer arch of that back foot, we press firm. Inner arch, we lift up just a little bit, okay? Keep that and then pull your foot towards the front of the mat, okay? Any amount that you can, outer arch of that front foot grounds down, and we're gonna re-bend the front knee. Okay, so just feeling that extra presence of outer arches. I feel so rude with my back towards you, but outer arches down. I don't know, I have this whole thing on camera where like, I feel like you're right there, so I can't, it's just so rude. Like imagine a conversation and that was happening. So ground the feet, feel firm through the floor, and then a little lift on the inner thighs, but some squeeze and engagement, okay? Without losing that, take a big inhale, stretch your arms, and then exhale all the way down, okay? Down dog, lift the hips up and back, right? Moving yourself through a flow, or if it feels good, pause and down dog, okay? And this is one of those things where it's like, does another chaturanga mean you've done more yoga, you know? When in essence, if you're still being based, like if you're practicing the skills of attentiveness and mindfulness, right? You're breathing fine in your down dog. You're still very much doing just as much yoga, you know? So without losing that, bend your knees, look forward. Good. Slowly walk or maybe hop if you feel good in your practice to do that. Okay, inhale for half. Exhale to fold and let go. Good. Inhale all the way to stand and take your time. Big breath to reach. Exhale, hands to the sides of your body. Good. Okay, one more time. Right, chair pose, hands at the heart, hips down and back. Okay. Now, subtle feeling, okay? And this is again when I started to get really explorative about chair. Another way to work the hips, but instead of inner legs, we're gonna get the outer hips and outer thighs, okay? So grounding through the big toe side of the foot. So opposite of what we've been doing most of class. And then a little lift on the outer arch. Create this feeling of pressing your feet down and then pull apart. Good. Okay, so keep that any amount that you can. Sit a little lower. Arms over the head if it feels good, but notice what that feels like in your hips. Feel the subtle detail in a simple pose like chair, okay? Inhale, heart lifted. Exhale, forward fold. Heavy, y'all. Good, okay? Soften your neck, soften the body. Okay, inhale for half lift. Exhale, hands on the mat. Step both feet back, downward facing dog. Okay, inhale, plank pose. Exhale, halfway down. Up dog. And into downward facing dog. Good. Okay, slow down. Okay. Now, one more thing to do, and we slow things down, we wrap it all up, okay? Inhale, right leg up and back. Nice. And then as you exhale, step right foot forward. This time, high lunge, okay? So back leg straight for a moment, back heel up, right? And you're gonna take the hands to the heart to set up, okay? So again, high lunge, very common pose that we kind of thread the salutations to, right? But now, in high lunge, take a little micro bend in your left knee. And then with your left knee bent, take your fingertips on your left hand, touch your left hip point, okay? Now, with the fingertips, feel as if you can lift the hip points up. So you're kind of like picking the front rim of your pelvis higher. Keep that, and then try not to let the hips like drop forward, but staying lifted in the front rim, a little lower in the knee. Good, okay? Arms over the head. And now, without losing that front hip lifted, we're gonna drop all the way down into low lunge. So take a big inhale. Good. Lift the front rim of your pelvis, bend your left knee all the way down to the mat. Nice. Okay, low lunge, back knee down. And then take your front foot a little more to the top of the mat. Good. Okay, now, any amount that you can, we're not sinking forward in the hips, but if you can stay lifted in the front rim of your pelvis, squeeze, okay? Back leg is engaged, so kick the floor, take a big inhale, stretch up. Nice. Exhale, hands down, downward facing dog. Okay. Inhale, plank pose if it feels nice. Exhale, halfway, or yes, halfway. Good. Inhale for up dog. Nice. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Good. Okay, last flow on the last side. Okay, inhale, left leg up. Nice. And then exhale, step through, high lunge. Okay, hands at the heart before we get into it. Okay. Now, same vibe here, right? We're still breathing. Bend that front knee a little bit more if you need it. Okay. Now, right knee is going to bend. Fingertips in that right hand touches right hip point, and we're lifting the pelvis higher in the front. Okay. Keep that. Try not to lose it. Sink a little lower in the hip, but keep the front rim lifted. Okay, arms over the head. And then being a little strong through the ball of your back foot. So without like not pressing the floor, which it'll be hard to not press right now, but squeeze. All right, take a big inhale. And then exhale, bend your knee even deeper, deeper and deeper and deeper. Good. And then from here, untuck the back toes, low lunge. All right, take a big inhale, stretch up. Nice. And then exhale all the way down. Good. Downward facing dog. Hips up and back. All right. Full flow if we're taking it. Or again, I want to remind you that down dog to pause and breathe. Really good in so much yoga, even if mind is not like fully on board with the idea. Okay. Good. Now from here, come down onto the knees. All right. Hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. So simple tabletop, but just make sure everything is stacked in the body. All right. Now, cat-cow, just to slow down a little bit, get into a little more of the spine, but also to pair movement back with breath, which is the whole essence of what we've been practicing, okay? So as you inhale, let the belly come down, lift your chest, lift your chin. Good. And then as you exhale, pull bottom ribs in, round your upper spine towards the ceiling. Good. One more time. Inhale, belly down towards the mat. Lift your chin away from your chest. And then as you exhale, press the hands into the floor. Round your spine a little bit more. Good. One more time. Inhale, belly to the mat. Good. Exhale, round and curl your spine. Good. Okay, pause next time you pass through neutral. Open up the knees a little wider on the mat. And then child's pose. Hips onto the heels, forehead onto the mat, or chin is fine too. Okay. But feel for a moment that your upper body is going to melt as much as you can let it in between the legs. And then with the hands, curl your fingers all the way towards the top of the mat. Okay. So you want to like get some length along the sides of your body. And then that might be enough. And then feel that you can breathe big enough into those ribs. You can kind of feel the sides lengthen. If it feels nice, something that I love to do in this pose, press up on your fingertips, right? So much so that the wrists lift up, the elbows lift up a little bit. That might add a little more to what you feel in your side body. But now, sense as if the hands can like push the floor forward, right? And then with the hips, opposite, drag back. Okay, so just tractioning a little bit more in the spine, tractioning a little more in the body, but push forward, sit back. Nice. Okay, take a nice deep inhale. Exhale, come forward in the tabletop. Okay, and then find a way to a seat. Unless it feels good and you want to rest in a little more of a restful position, which to me is just laying down, if that feels a little better. Okay, but I want you to give yourself about 2 minutes. Okay, and that's a little, excuse me, that's about as much time as we have left before class ends. But I really want you to feel that the end of practice, that last portion to kind of pause and be still, is again the essence, is what we're kind of working towards. It is the most subtle, basic part of the practice, but it is the most beneficial. It is. And we skip it sometimes, you know? So comfortable seat or lying down, close your eyes, and then let your extremities, your arms, your legs be in a place where they're not as active. Okay. Okay. To me, this quote is just so universal, and I just love the way that it just reminds us that we can get a little complicated, more complicated than we need to, you know. Oftentimes, even in life, like when I find myself being like overwhelmed or things are just getting too complicated, I remind myself, right, the 90% of the benefit comes from the easiest 10%. And that might even be in life too, you know, where when things are getting complicated and overwhelming in life, I just remind myself, like, if I can do the simple things, if I can do the basic things that I need to do to survive, like really well, I'll be okay. Okay. And even when my mind is complicated, my experience with all these other thoughts, it helps to kind of slow down, gather myself, practice these basic skills of breathing, mindfulness, and attentiveness. And just check in with myself to feel that, okay, things are complicated, yes. But if I can stick to the basics and do them really well, I don't know, that's comforting. I think that is just fine, you know? So I hope that that's something that resonates, and for you to not just feel that on your mat that it has to be 1,000% all the time. But if you can do the simple things, the easiest 10% as efficiently as you can do it goes a long way. Okay. I'm grateful for you all. I really am. And I hope that every time we practice, you receive something that is actually valuable for what you need in your body and in your mind. Um, thank you. Can't say that enough. Right. Namaste. Happy Monday.